All right, welcome everybody. This is a logistics system for oxygen not included. What we have is a rail in a circle. We've got our materials warehouse right here, where we have some infinite storage, keep all of our stuff. That's pretty cool. But now, say we've got an outpost. We got a farm over here where we want to ship dirt and phosphorite because we're growing pinch of pepper plants and sleet wheat. But we don't want to saturate this rail because it's our one rail that goes throughout the entire asteroid. So what we're going to do is come up with a little logistics system that is nice and polite, doesn't saturate the rail, and keeps everything moving. It's going to start with a weight plate. And that's going to be the signal for when we need more materials. So this time, this one, let's say this is phosphorite. So when we're going to use an AND gate and the weight plate. So when there's phosphorite on the rail and we need some, we're going to open up this chute. And then also the signal for when we need stuff is going to be on stripe 1 of this conveyor, this automation ribbon. So let's say we need to fill up this rail with phosphorite. So let's say when this is below 1,000 kilos, we're just going to ship phosphorite, and that's going to fill this up. And so now we have this kind of rudimentary shipping system, but we've got some problems here. And that's going to be that this is just going to continue to saturate this rail until it's full. And then I'll show you what happens here in a minute. But we're going to build another one well, let's see. Once this is all full, and we can now turn this down to say 50. And those are just going to go back to home because they're just going to go all the way around the map and come back to home. Now, let's say we've consumed some of that, just like that. Let's say we consumed all of that. This is going to say we need more, but it's just going to saturate that rail again. And look at all this material that's going to go by without and being wasted. So we're going to add one more thing to this, and that's a timer sensor. Timer sensor is going to output green for a minute and then red for a minute, and that's going to signal that we're going to send some material, and then we're going to wait to see if we got it, and then we're going to send some more. So again, we're going to hook it up to the weight plate when we need more, and the timer says green, and the timer sensor says green. Then, only then are we going to send stuff. Now let's think about what these two durations mean. The red duration is how long we're going to wait for material before we send some more. And since stuff on a rail travels at 1 square per second, this is basically the distance from this little depot to our storage. In this case, it's about 1920. So I'm going to say we're going to wait 25 seconds. And the green is how many seconds we're going to enable this autoloader. And that's basically going to put 20 kilos out per second until it says for that entire green duration. So this is 200 kilos, which is a little bit too much. So let's just say 1. And now, let's say we get everything off that. And let's say we have 2 shipments. Eventually, this is just going to ship out some phosphorite for us. Now, this number right here is the consumption rate of this rail, and this number is the consumption rate of this rail. So we're looking at 200 grams per second, or 0.2 kilos every second. And that's what this rail is consuming. So as long as we maintain a shipping rate of more than 200 grams a second, we're going to be fine. Now let's look at this with dirt as well, the other one. We're just going to copy that. Dirt over here is on stripe 2. So let's give it stripe 2. Let's get dirt. Let's do also, this is going to be a little bit faster consumption, but that's probably fine. So we'll copy the settings, and now we're going to start requesting dirt, and it's going to start coming. And again, we need to saturate this rail, so let's put a lot on there. And not 600, 300. So that's going to send 300 seconds worth of dirt, and then wait 25 seconds. So that's going to take all this dirt up there. And the way I have this set up here, the shipping rail, each of these rails come out and they join, they kind of union. There's no priority. So when we get some phosphorite coming in, it's going to mix in with the dirt as well. And let's set this to below 1,000 so we can accumulate some stuff up there. There we go, that's better. But now, let's say, boom, we take that up. Phosphorite goes away. Now we're going to see a shipment of phosphorite here right now. There it comes. And there it is mixed in on that rail. So this has now saturated. So let's stop collecting so much. And now we're just going to have this nice quiet rail while our farm or whatever consumes dirt and phosphorite. So that's pretty cool. Now, how do we figure these things out? Well, how do we figure out what our consumption rate is and what our timing is? Enter spreadsheets. So here we've got phosphorite being consumed at 200 grams per second and dirt 333 grams per second. Distance is 25. And this never mind what I did there. That's fine. I tweaked this until we got a very similar rate to this. So 357, that's getting a little kind of close. So let's go 25 seconds. Now the green duration, to calculate the green duration, it's going to be your consumption rate times the red duration divided by 20 minus the consumption rate. And so if I set phosphorite to 1 every 55 seconds, 1 second every 55 seconds, this is going to be able to keep up with this consumption rate, no problem. And now if I set the dirt to 1 every 50 seconds, it's also going to be able to keep up with the dirt consumption rate. This rail will be way less saturated. And we're going to have this nice clean rail where we can put stuff on it, and there's usually going to be some space for it. Now, we can add one more thing into this. What if, since this is your farm, this is kind of an important thing, what if you stop receiving shipments? How do you figure out before it becomes a disaster? Well, we can add just a little bit more automation. We can start counting how many times we request dirt or phosphorite. And then we're going to, so each time we request phosphorite, each time we request dirt, we're going to increment this counter. And then if we go over a certain number without actually getting a shipment, so this automation line says, yes, we got a shipment. That means we can reset that counter. So let's say if we go over 3, then we're going to notify, okay, this is not receiving phosphorite. make a boing boing on that. And then this one we're going to say, oh no, we're not receiving dirt. And we'll make that boing boing. Okay, now, if say something goes wrong and we stop receiving dirt, like we're writing to the wrong bit on this, we're going to start requesting. There's 1. No dirt's coming. There's 2. No dirt's coming. And then 3. We're going to get a notification. And then we can go fix our problem. And everything is going to be hunky-dory. Let's turn this back to 50. And this will eventually catch up with the consumption rate over there. That's great. So what if you don't know what your consumption rate is? Let's say like, you've got this little depot way out in the boonies and you don't know what's going on. This is going to be sand. Let's say it's also consuming sand at a pretty decent clip. And we want to figure out how to tune this. So sand is on bit 3. So let's just send a bunch of sand and wait. Not that much sand. We don't need that much sand. There we go. Okay, so let's send a bunch of sand. And let's go below 1,000. So we need to add that. Okay, now we're going to send a bunch of sand. Here it comes. And then we're just going to wait for that sand to arrive. And this timer now will tell us how long it took for that sand to get there. And then we can plug it into our little spreadsheet and figure out what to set these durations to, what to set the weight plate to, etc. So here we go. Here comes the sand. I don't know if that was the right time because this, oh yeah, 50 plus, so it sent 50 seconds worth of sand, and then another 60-ish seconds the sand showed up. So that's 110 seconds. Boom. Hey, look at that. So we're going to set the red to 115 and 12. And that will give us the will match that consumption rate. Now keep in mind you've got a buffer of 1,000 kilos in the conveyor loader, plus whatever you have sitting on top of this weight plate. If that's not enough, you can tell, oh, well, let's make 60 kilos. That's 3 shipments. Let's be able to save 3 shipments on there. That's fine. So here, we've got our buffer of 1,006 kilograms. And at that consumption rate, that's 8 cycles, almost 9 cycles worth of backup. For the dirt's 5 cycles. And if we just had 1,000 kilos up here, that might be that would be 2 cycles. Let's say we wanted a little bit more. So let's say we wanted almost 7 cycles. We need to add another 4,000 kilos of sand to this mix somehow, which is fairly simple. We can make it, we can put a storage bin here, fill it up with 4,000 kilos of filtration medium, and away we go. We're going to set that one priority lower than the storage bin, than the conveyor loader. So the conveyor loader gets loaded first, storage bin gets loaded second, and everything else is hunky-dory. Now we're still trying to fill this up, so we're going to keep sort of a high amount of shipping here, a high green duration, while this fills up. But then we can switch it down to 12 seconds every 115 seconds. And, I mean, even that rate is still higher than what our consumption rate is. So it will eventually fill up over time. We could just set this to 12. Everything's going to be hunky-dory. And just watch as we now have a nice, everything's taken care of. Everybody gets fed from a central location. And you don't saturate the rail. So, this is a pretty cool system. I've been using it in in survival for almost 1,000 cycles. It's been stress tested. It's super simple. You don't need a lot of automation. You don't need a lot of weird playing around with anything. It's pretty simple. You can understand. I'm going to send 12 seconds at 20 kilos a second and wait for 115 seconds, and then we'll see again. So this will just run forever as long as your depot, your main warehouse, keeps full. It's going to keep all of your little outposts on the map supplied and ready to go. Let's look at all of the automation so far. Pretty simple. 2 AND gates and a couple other little accessories. Shipping. Pretty simple. You'll always want to put a bridge after your chutes just to make sure that nobody gets confused as to which direction they're going. But yeah, do you want to see this in real life? Come over here. Okay, welcome to the Intergalactic Bakery. This is my current playthrough, 3,500 cycles almost in, and we have our shipping rails that goes from a depot over here all the way over to the left, up and down the map, over here and back. I set this up when I was thinking maybe I would put most of my industry and stuff on the left-hand side of the map. But as it is, I'm going to do the right-hand side of the map. So that's why this thing is just all the way over here. It doesn't go down centrally. This is something separate I'm going to be talking about in a minute. So, we've got material going on the rail to 3 places. So this is one. This is my farm. So I've got a sleet wheat farm and a pinch of pepper nut farm. And here we have that same setup. This has been running for, that's 500 cycles. Is that right? Let's see. 500 cycles. Yeah. So I've been running this for 500 cycles. Never had a problem with enough dirt or phosphorite getting in. Over here on this side of the map, which is up in the upper right-hand corner, I have sand for a polluted water off-gassing facility so I can make lots and lots of ceramic. I'm going to put some other stuff up here as well, and as you can see, one auto sweeper can cover 5 spots, just like I have over here. This is my molecular forge, and each of these little weight plates has all the ingredients to make anything in the molecular forge. So this is the most recent one. I just set this up 56 cycles ago. And so here is sort of the main drag coming back into my depot. And as you can see, the outgoing rail, pretty fine. Incoming rail, phosphorite, clay, phosphorite. Coming in here, some sand. So it works pretty darn well. And I got one rail. I don't have a lot of rail spaghetti. It's pretty neat. So thanks everybody for checking it out. Now, So down here we've got my farms, and this is going to be the food production area. So now I want to have some outposts where I send food. Well, I've got this little cryogenically frozen shipping lane here. It's going to go up and down the map. And when you ship food, again, you're going to have 1,000 kilos of food in the conveyor loader, which is a lot. For pepper bread, 4,000 kilos. 1,000 kilos makes 4 million calories just sort of tied up in that conveyor loader, which I kind of want to avoid because I don't really like to overproduce food. As you can see here, I've only got 300,000 calories of pepper bread. That's my baseline. That's what I produce. The rest of that stuff is slowly getting consumed and turned into polluted dirt and stuff. So instead of giving this auto sweeper direct access to the conveyor loader, we're going to use automation on a door, and when some outpost requests food, we're going to open this door up. That will leave that conveyor loader, that sweeper with unmitigated access to that conveyor loader. It'll ship off some, and then it'll ship off down the line. I'm going to have to move it over to here, again, because I was thinking I would be going off to the left, but that'll come. Well, thanks for taking this tour with me. This has been a nice little logistics system. It works great for me. Let me know down in the comments if you got any questions, comments, improvements. This has been Occam Blazer. Thank you.